Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to episode 245. Is it 245, Paul? My goodness, man. Okay, I guess you can't be wrong.
Hope not.
We're calling it 5 of the best, but that title, I don't think, gives it quite enough gas. This is a return to old school GI Joburg form, where we would just come up with random top 5 lists and unveil them on the show and discuss them, and that was the podcast. So I am delighted to have this blast from the past, old school style GI Joburg topic to talk about, because guess what? We don't really have any serious earth-shattering news to get into, or anything like that, for instance. So I'm happy. I'm also Steve, if you were wondering.
By the way,
There are 2 other fellas that join me on these weekly adventures. They're called Paul
that is me. I am the Paul.
and Rob.
Hey there, guys. Welcome.
Yeah, man. And another week has passed. Obviously, what's up, guys? What's going on?
Ooh, well, thankfully nothing too crazy in the world. Like on our side of things, it's been pretty great. Been having a chance to play with my toys, which has been nice. Actually really getting into some of my into some of my classified figures and into my Motu stuff that I purchased recently. So that's been quite cool for me, and caught 1 or 2 interesting TV series that I'm hoping that we can chat about in this episode. But otherwise, all good. And you guys?
Things are going good in Cape Town, I think. The weather's slowly getting cooler, which I'm exceptionally happy about. It's so nice to be able to go outside and not be drenched in sweat. Otherwise, yeah, things are going good. I think I'm getting a little bit more sleep, which is kind of nice.
Always
And
a
yeah,
bonus.
I think that's about it. I'm working on myself this week. Working on myself.
And for my part, I am broadcasting from the pool pump room again. This will be a recurring theme because my parents are here. My family, man, they made the trip to Oz and have met their grandson at long last, and it is delightful. Elliot's really taken to the granny and grandpa, big style. I mean, he now will kind of reach out for them when he's in my arms, and he'll go from family member to family member like that, just like, oh, I want you,
I mean,
and I want you.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's gorgeous, and it has turned Townsville, which I suppose always was a bit of a sleepy holiday vacation destination. Finally, it's taken on that character for me because I have such strong associations with like my parents and December holidays, like going up the coast in South Africa to whatever holiday town we'd kind of fallen in love with that year. And so every lunchtime is, a boozy sandwich, fresh bread, greens, and some cold meats affair. Every supper time is a kind of an outdoors cookout, or we do something lovely inside. Like it's very, very much like holiday. So I'm in this perpetual state of bliss. And anytime I'm a bit tired, like I can palm Elliot off on one of them. I mean, this
How
is how you should
nice.
be living, guys. Like, it's a pity, man. Like, we really should just all be in one village. Curse this modern world, right, for separating us all.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the kind of the personal news. On the toy front, it's been a very big week, and we will get into that. But I think it's time to unveil the topic for anyone scratching their heads. We decided to make this top 5 list all about sub-teams because, at GI Joburg, we like to show some shine to the little guys, the lesser appreciated aspects of GI Joe, perhaps. Sub-teams
Aspects.
were that kind of love it or hate it innovation, shall we say, where old figures got pushed out again with new decos, sometimes new figures entirely. Sometimes they were all hung up on a concept or an action feature or a play feature. So there are a lot of elements that could potentially detract a more, should we say, conservative GI Joe fan away from sub teams. But today we're putting together a 5-pack, shall we say, of some of our favorite sub team members. The criteria for that 5-pack is that if you have selected a member of a certain sub team, that sub team then becomes off limits. So if I took a Night Force figure, that's the only Night Force figure I'm allowed to have on my team. Similarly, no duplicates. You can't have Tiger Force Flint and then have Ikor is Flint. That one. Yeah. And I'm sure Flint was on other sub teams, to be honest, but those are the two that bubble to my memory right now. You can't have Slaughter's Marauders Mutton Junkyard and then have DEF Mutton Junkyard. Stuff like that. So with those criteria in mind, get your creative wheels turning, Joburgers. Give us your lists. We've already got some responses from the Berg Force who happen to be live with us in the chats. Hello, Berg Force. Leading the charge is Mark van Leeuwen. He was here an hour early because of daylight savings coming to an end in the Netherlands. But his list is Mission Brazil Claymore, nice, a unique character. BF2K Dodger, the best of the bunch. Night Force Crazy Legs, also a deco that saved that character. Tiger Force Sky Striker, you gotta have a pilot, and why not make it a unique one? And Sky Patrol Static Line. Awesome. Seems you've got vehicle experts, you've got Air Force guys. I think the theme that I see is like people jumping out of planes. What with Crazy Legs and Static Line. Sky Striker drives the plane. Claymore and Dodger, I guess, are on the ground already. Or maybe they also suit up and put on a parachute.
Team jumpers.
Yeah, nice. So keep them coming, guys. If anyone else has a list they'd like to put forward, we'll have it. I think I've got one from Tim Wild, actually. It came to me hot and fresh in my DMs this morning. If I'm playing the game correctly, Ultimate Infiltration Team. Nice. Always added a unique criteria to his. Ninja Force, Snake Eyes. Slaughter's Marauders, Mercer. Night Force, Tunnel Rat. DEF, Shockwave. And Crimson Guard, which is Agent Faces. He says he's cheating on that one, perhaps. And if he can't use Agent Faces, then Tiger Force Jinx. Great stuff, man. That is a sneaky to the max kind of team if I ever saw one.
Battle Cat Jinx.
Always fun.
I want to be careful here with spoilers, obviously, but did any of you guys perhaps consider Battle Core to be a sub-team?
Interesting.
Oh, we're going to see a return of Gone Fishing Bazooka again.
He's got to be on every team. Every team means it's
He has to be on
efficient.
every team.
Paul, look.
What is your
argument-
obsession with this character?
Yeah, you need therapy, dude. An argument can be made for Battle Core being a sub-team. But I think Battle Core, in an era where sub-teams just dominated, where everyone was on a sub-team, like Battle Core was the name they just dubbed the main line.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels like
that
that
was
more.
my thinking. Which is why, I actually avoided every one of them,
Like,
and-
what
and
was
the
their
one?
what was their feature? That they had spring-loaded weapons and came with a battle stand? I mean,
Their feature was that they were for sale, and their current feature is that they're cheaper. So,
were they
No.
priced differently to sub-team members?
no, I think they're just cheaper now because they're 90s figures. So
Oh, you
people
mean
are
the
like,
secondary
whatever.
market. So you were
And they
thinking
don't
like,
have, like-
ooh, people are going to
Yeah.
be able to make these sub-teams that I came up with.
And they don't have like stupidly, when I say stupidly, more like they don't have unique accessories. So it's pretty easy to pick them up just loose, you don't have to hunt like a specific machine gun because you most likely have it in your collection somewhere already. So
It's true, it's true.
I suppose that's their special feature is that they're cheap force. So,
Okay, so
Yeah.
Paul's hoping people will build these teams and he'll see cool dios of them.
I'm excited to see. I mean, guys, I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me that wrestled with making my own sub team out of the battle core. You know,
Whoa.
there's like lazy Springfield infiltration force, which did definitely include old fisherman bazooka because I really am on that thing and I can't afford therapy, so I'm gonna be stuck on that one for a while. Um, but yeah, so
Well,
okay,
Paul,
so basically
where's
battle.
where's your wheel
Wait.
of names? Because it's always a case of like who goes first, like
Ooh.
who steps onto the dance floor first, like who's gonna break the
Let me
ice.
let me get the wheel of names out. Let me get
The wheel of names.
Hey.
wheel.
I'm
While
glad
he
it's
gets the
coming back.
wheel of names out, little bit of new GI Joe news. Has anyone cast their peepers on the 3016 scale collective Roadblock?
Yeah.
Is that
Am I
the same
saying that right?
series that Deathstroke came from? Those ones we saw a little while ago.
No, that's Mezco. This would be a
Oh.
12-inch figure. So it's kind of
Ooh.
like Sideshow, except he's got. Oh, it's the same as the Storm Shadow that we saw once upon a time. The one who awkwardly can't like get into a good bow drawing position. You know?
Yeah.
Can this Roadblock awkwardly hold his Marduce?
Well, yes, because it's a long beast of a weapon, and you don't have to kind of really hit your arm in. I mean, they've got him in some firing poses, if I can find them in my pictures. It all seems very small. The screen is very far away from my face. Anyway, I had some firing poses. He looks good with the Marduce. He looks good with that pistol. I have been conditioned by GI Joe to not like it when right-handed figures have holsters on the left. I do not approve of
Oh, I saw you
Roadblock, who
you
is
posting something about that.
canonically, yeah, no, it was on the Full Force Facebook group. He had just done the news burst and he put up some pictures, and I said, like, does it bother anyone else that Roadblock holsters his pistol on the left? Because like you cannot get a more canonically right-handed character than Roadblock. Like any artwork he's depicted holding Marduce, yeah, he's right-handed. Defs. He's supporting
Can
it with
I
his left. Share some
This is
insights.
Well,
great, though.
I would like to put in to share some insight there. What makes sense to me is that because he's right-handed and he uses that big bad machine gun, you know, which he can dual wield, I suppose. It makes a lot of sense that when that's gone out of ammo, it's easier for him to quickly draw from his left side to use the like a hand or a pistol as a personal defense weapon. I don't
don't
see
know,
it as
man.
like
He's probably personally
don't
defending himself really badly, though. If he's aiming with his left hand.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
Paul,
know.
think of the mechanics of it. Like you're holding something super, super heavy. You're cradling it with your left. So your left is supporting the weight. Your right is on the trigger. Which hand can you remove safely from the weapon without it falling to the floor?
It's
You
the
can
right.
remove your right hand. It's the right,
Yeah,
exactly.
because you support it with the left. Bring your right hand out. You start gunning down guys who are like right in your face.
yeah, guys. Don't get me wrong. That was like literally the only answer I could think of. You know?
Well,
Paul's
it's a
trying
good
to
one.
trying to save this figure.
No, it's a good explanation, Paul. Sadly, I've just preempted it because I think about this way too much. And the reason I think about this way too much is bloody 25th anniversary Snake Eyes. He holstered on the left, which is okay. He's a commando. He can probably be ambidextrous. He's got his Uzi in the one hand. He can draw a pistol in the other, no problem. But the problem came from the fact that the 25th anniversary reused that body and that web gear so much. You almost had an entire OG-13 team all wielding their sidearms on the left, all thanks to the choice they made for Snake Eyes. It happened with Stalker, it happened with Hawk, I'm sure it happened with a number of others. So now I'm cursed. I'm cursed to always notice this point and be bugged by it. But yeah, very nice job 3-0. That is a beautiful figure. The
It is
specs
really
really
nice, and it's cool
really tie it together.
they went with this color scheme for him as well. As opposed to his
version 2.
original look. It feels
Yeah,
more
I'm-
like it's uniquely a GI Joe than it is just a heavy gun toting soldier figure.
Yeah.
Well, Classified kind of pushed it towards this look as well, and that just says to me that canonically, it's more accepted that this is Roadblock's main look: the gray pants, the green body armor with the red shoulder pad,
It
and
also,
the white undershirt. Yeah.
to me, it makes it more like, especially when we're talking about the 3-0 figure, it makes it more appealing to me because not that I'm gonna buy this, but I just look at this and I go, okay, he's got a lot more gear and a lot more finger food. It's a lot more interesting as a toy that's gonna cost
Finger
$150. That's what they call it, dude. When there's lots
Oh,
of interesting
man.
stuff on a toy. But well, that's the term that's thrown around. But it is a more interesting toy in that respect, because I find that this version of him makes for a more interesting toy than him just being pants and a vest, and a helmet, personally. So, ooh, he comes with his tripod and goggles. I didn't see that. I haven't
yeah,
seen this
dude.
image.
You can put him on if you can find a 1 to whatever 12-inch scale 6th scale Humvee, you can pop him on top there too.
Oh, well, I hope so. Yeah, it's a GI Joe, right? So,
Good looking figure, and I'm sure Roadblock fans are doing backflips. Most Joe fans would at least consider it, and certainly, yeah, he's out of my price range.
Yeah,
My
how much
jollies
No.
require very, very much simpler toys.
$150? I'm
100
guessing.
Honestly, off the
probably
top of my head,
150, 100. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, Paul's got experience in this department.
Whoa,
Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes in most places I think is $160 to $180 for Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow is a little bit more because he has that exposed flesh. So I've seen Snake Eyes Storm Shadow for as much as $190, which personally I think is a bit expensive. I think there's
Yeah,
a
no
line
shit.
that they've crossed at the price. Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I feel like Mezco stuff is kind of safe in the $120, $130 for their offerings. I feel like 3-0 is pushing it, but then again, 3-0's, anybody who buys 3-0 stuff knows that they're going to pay around that price. So for 3-0 product, it's pretty standard. It's more expensive than their Power Rangers, though. 3-0 did a line of Power Rangers that went for about $120, if memory serves. And they're pretty cool. And if you buy all of them, you can combine their weapons. Ooh. So
Oh, how very Power Rangers.
I like
Troy's
this.
got
dude.
the best comeback. Stephen, Roadblock is also out of your size range. Yeah, it's true.
Hey, don't they know it?
3 3/4 inch committed.
So I've got this magical wheel of sub-teams ready to go. So I'm just gonna share it on the stream. Yay! Everybody knows the wheel. Wee. And are
Welcome
we ready
back.
to spin this thing? So let's spin this thing. Tuk, 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 tuk. Spin fantastically fun wheel. Wee! It looks like it's gonna. Oh wow!
Hey, Robbie's gonna kick us off.
Ooh.
Ooh! There's our
Oh,
fireworks.
shit.
Oh. Okay, Rob.
I'm first.
Lay
What
it
did you
on
win,
us,
Rob?
Last.
What did you win?
I won the opportunity to talk first. Fantastic. So
You know, you don't get it often enough.
No one ever asked me to go first, especially not on GI Joburg. So I went with I just chose characters that I thought were really really cool and color schemes that I think kind of work together at least, so that they kind of look like their own little sub team. Which I don't know. I thought for me that was a cool criteria. It sounded like Matthew Wild came up with his own criteria for his type of team that he wanted. So that's kind of like what I went with.
Close enough. Tim Wilde.
Tim Wild. Okay. Who's Matthew Wild then? Oh, Matthew Wild is a
West
director.
Side Story.
Yes.
Well, our production at least.
So the leader of my team is Flint from Tiger Force. I think Flint is a fantastic leader, and he's got a range of abilities that he can bring to the battlefield. He's got an awesome shotgun. He's cool under fire, and he's a pilot as well. So if in a pinch, he can get you out of dodge real fast. And he's a pretty decent variant, I think, on the original figure. He still looks really cool. He looks awesome, and yeah, I this is a really cool version of Flint, I think. And backing Flint up as his heavy gunner and EOD is from the Sonic Fighters, Tunnel Rat. Sonic Fighters Tunnel Rat is once again, I think, an incredible version of the character. They just got it right again. Like sometimes they just like mess up. I feel with color variants when they come up with new characters, or at least repaint them. But like once again, he just looks fantastic. He looks great, and his accessories are quite varied as well. You can pop that giant backpack off and forget it somewhere, and he will still have a ton of guns. Where not only is he disabling explosives, but he's making his own explosions too.
As far as giant backpacks concerned, his is less offensive than you might think, because Tunnel Rat always did come with a giant backpack.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely does need it. I mean, and especially to carry all of the explosives that he's going to be firing at you. And I thought it was a good choice.
I love that for this, they also gave him like, I want to say it's his original machine gun, but for the life of me, which is great, which is always cool for like, especially us growing up in the 90s. This was our Tunnel Rat, we couldn't get Tunnel Rat otherwise, so at least I couldn't. So at least we had his original machine gun, and then only later when I find out that is the Snow Serpent's mortar launcher, and then that's Battle Armor Cobra Commander's handgun that he comes with. So he's got a pretty cool like range of gear. I just still don't understand what this big plastic block is that he holds.
It's a grenade launcher.
He's holding it.
I think.
Is it a grenade? I don't know. It's very it's a very life out gun.
You have to ask Knockdown what it is. But yeah, it absolutely is. It screams 90s.
And
but that's a cool choice.
Also his equipment isn't like horrendously bright. I mean, okay, it's cool to have bright equipment, but like it still looks good, and everything he comes with looks good with him. And then the third member of the team, as I chose for tech support, I chose Special Missions Mainframe, who is a very different version of Mainframe.
Is that when he wants to infiltrate the core?
Exactly. He's so bright and different. I was just like, but it works at least with the color schemes. With the rest of the team, I was like, I needed a tech guy, and I think he's the most appropriate. Thankfully, they did not recolor his equipment to be bright red.
What went through his mind that day? It's like, okay, I'm going to Brazil, and I'm going to wear my tan shirt, but I'm going to wear my red pants, and I'm going to accessorize with a red helmet and a red bandolier and a red holster.
I'm ready for the carnivals. We're going to the carnivals.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got the Mardi Gras vibes.
The carnival. That's where we're going, right?
He's tan and black and red all over. Mainframe.
Samba de Janeiro. Dun, 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 dun.
Samba de Janeiro. Isn't it de Janeiro?
No, there's also that too. But I'm playing it up on purpose to be funny. I could have also said de Janeiro. But
you're a funny guy.
Say
Tacos. Very nice.
Samba de Janeiro. These are completely different references.
With the fourth member of my team, it kind of just if you thought this guy is red, you will definitely enjoy the red of Eco Warriors Barbecue.
Whoa!
As I progressively went along, like each character just became more and more red, and like the theme of at least the look of the team became more and more obvious. Like Flint just barely has a bit of a red rougey look on him. So I've always enjoyed Barbecue, and I like this version of the figure at least because I mean I have the payload of this, and I think it's a really decent sculpt, and at least for me, I think it works really well for Barbecue, and I love that he just fully accepts that he is red and yellow. Like he has the yellow visor, is completely in red, and it's a cool figure from the 90s once again. A cheaper figure that you can get, if you want to build this team yourself. Because I
don't
imagine
know, man.
Flint is probably going to be quite expensive because he's
I've been
Tiger
trying
Force.
to find. I think you could probably get a Tiger Force Flint cheaper than you can get an Eco Warriors Barbecue. Reason being that
reals?
the second series of Eco Warrior figures, I think, were produced in shorter numbers and for a shorter production run. And to find this guy, particularly with his visor intact, because a lot of people seem to have pried that visor off.
Well, even
and
the
lost
pictures
it.
on Yo Joe, which is where I got most of my pictures, I think the main picture has him without the visor on. So I think that's obviously a thing that happened quite a lot, was the visors got sort of taken off.
On
I mean,
our
I've never
Star
had a problem
Brigade
with like
versions of
payload,
this,
but
yeah, it seems firm enough. Maybe the adhesive was weaker on the Eco Warriors one, or maybe because it was used around water, might have had an effect. I don't know. I have had this figure in my crosshairs for a little while, and just can't come right.
Dude, I gotta say, man, that face. Sorry, just looking at that face in that glass bubble is like, Alpha, I need 5 teenagers with attitude.
okay.
That's what he did. Jeez. Take me back, Paul. I might know Joe, but you seem to have like this wide net of
Love
just like
Power Rangers.
nostalgia crap. All right, Rob, you owe us one more figure.
And the fifth and final member of my team, who I would consider to be the wild card, because every team kind of needs like a Snake Eyes type character who's kind of like the loner or the guy kind of like you send off to do his own thing while everyone else kind of works together, and he kind of like wins the day or saves the day in the end.
Ooh,
And
who's
I
that
thought,
in us?
Who's that in us? Oh, in GI Joburg. Huh.
Cujo.
Cujo, yeah, I think it's probably Cujo, yeah.
He's totally the wild
Silent
card.
and violent. And when he brings the words, he brings the words.
Goes off, does his own thing. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. So the fifth member of my team then rounds it out, completes the look as well as I suppose the theme, is Slaughters Marauders Mercer. Who, I mean, we've already heard he's added to someone else's five-person sub-team team. He's just a wild card, because he's an ex Cobra. He has a very unique set of skills, I think. He knows Cobra better than anyone else. He's the best guy to go up against Cobra, and he will do the things that other people won't do, which I think often Snake Eyes is kind of does as well. He does the stuff that other people wouldn't be willing to do, and I think that's what makes him interesting, and it makes him not clash but contrast with the rest of the team.
Nice.
And I very boringly just call them Fire Team because they're all very much red, or at least variations of red across the entire team. Flint's probably the least red, but still, because he's from Tiger Force, I think it counts.
Who's your leader, dude? Flint.
It's Flint. Flint's the leader. Yeah, he's in charge. And yeah, I think the personality is all very interesting. I mean, Barbecue, if I remember correctly, is a party guy. Flint is obviously very straight, straight down the middle. I think Tolerant would be an interesting guy to kind of like play against. Mainframe being older, he's kind of a more wiser guy. People are going to approach him, but maybe he's still more playful as well, being a crazy cool tech dude. And then there's the guy who kind of like clashes with everyone in the team. Mercer, he kind of feels left out, but he also feels he's doing things for the right reason, and that's why he is on the Joe team, despite like maybe everyone else kind of being against him or like not trusting him as much. He knows he trusts himself enough for everyone else. Yeah, so I thought there was a pretty cool team I put together there.
Nice.
Let's see how it can get any better. Hell yeah, dude.
What is the action feature? What do they come with? Do they color change? Do they become more red?
Well, except Barbecue. He looks more normal when you wait him.
When he's like torching people, he's like, no, I'm loving it.
And also, they're ready for most situations. I mean, the tech situations, they have a firefighter in there. What's it called? Explosive Ordnance Disposal.
EOD.
EOD.
Yeah.
They're ready for a lot of situations. So I thought they were a very rounded team. I don't know if they have a special feature though. I think they're just special because they're together. That's what makes them special.
Sounds like the lyrics to a song. We are special because we're together. That's what makes us special.
Friends forever together. Bonnie, let's sing it
Fighting,
now.
we wear red. All right, you criminals.
Hey.
Paul, who's next? And while you
It's,
spin, I've got a list from the Berg Force. Darren Cobb
Nice.
says Tunnel Rat, Night Force, Dusty from Tiger Force, Junkyard Mutt, Slaughters Marauders, Red Star, October God. Very good. I like that. Sneak it in there because I suppose there are
Hey, I
two.
get to go again.
And
Wasn't
the-
it cool? Wasn't it cool that my name was in red?
Oh,
dun dun dun. It was, yeah.
that was
Spin
very
again.
good. Wait, it landed on you, Paul.
No, it landed on
No,
me.
it landed on Rob again, so I had to remove him.
Okay.
Ah.
Well, it landed on you, Paul. Oh,
Yay.
that's the most cuttable element of this podcast. Snip, snip, snip. Thank you for the list, Darren. And he has a great callback to the fact that that version of barbecue called the Bat V2's Charred Viper. I remember the issue well because it was my first issue of GI Joe. It was issue 130 where Cobra once again attempts to invade the pit, and Airtight and Barbecue are the first line of defense. Barbecue's got a flamethrower attached to a kind of a blast door, and he uses this nozzle in the blast door to basically fire flame at advancing enemies.
This is making me remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, Airtight's like, I don't recognize the Vipers that are marching down the hallway. And Barbecue's like, doesn't matter. We can call it a charred Viper.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull out the first member of my force.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I wasn't cool like you guys and picked the theme. I think my theme is mostly guys that blow stuff up well or really good. So the first one, because I'm on this Mega Marines kick, is a Mega Marines Mirage, because I just think he's such a great toy. He's like definitely the best of the Mega Marines, seconded only by Gung Ho. He's such an incredible figure, and I really wish they'd like done more with this character, like taken him out of the sub team. And I feel like, you know, if you're gonna get like a 5-pack that represents in my eyes the best of the best from the sub teams, that I feel like Mirage has to be in there. And this is a Joe team, so yeah, he's just a really cool toy. Yeah,
They
and
did take him out of Mega Marines. He saw re-release into the 2000s. Same mold, different colors.
okay.
It's a
well, that's cool
really
to hear.
nicely molded figure.
Yeah.
I really love these colors though. Like, I have no problem with the Mega Marines version. It's just I just think he's just an interesting character, and he's just so badass. So yeah, so we got Mirage. He's gonna go and take out stuff. Then big surprises, everybody. Mercer, you know, because
Ooh, that's 2 for Mercer. My goodness.
Yeah.
Will he be on my list as well and make the hat trick?
Or stay tuned to
Whoa.
find out.
yeah, so I kind of dig. I mean, guys, I don't have to go into too much detail as to why I love Mercer. Mercer's just great. And I've just loved the toy. I think he's a really simple, fun GI Joe figure to play with. Minimal gear, of course, but I just feel like he would shine in a box set with, you know, guys like Mirage, and this cool guy, dun dun dun, Night Force, Tunnel Rat.
It seems Tunnel Rat is definitely a favorite.
Tunnel Rat is a favorite. So, as I mentioned earlier, the only way we could get Tunnel Rat here locally was the Sonic Fighters. Yeah, it was the Sonic Fighters version. And that was really, really cool. And I've always loved that Tunnel Rat. And then later on, I would discover this version of him, the black-shirted one, actually through the modern era Joes, because they did him as a 2-pack with somebody who I don't think was that important. I think it was Monkey Ranch, but it was just basically Outback recolored. But I got that 2-pack just purely for this Tunnel Rat because he's such a great. It's such a great color scheme. It's my favorite Night Force figure. If I ever had to get anything from Night Force, it would be this Tunnel Rat. And he's just a great, great character as well. He's an EOD, but he's also a big gun guy. He's also a great solo operative. So, fun. This is a fun pack. Like, if I got this for Christmas or something, I'd be like, oh my word, I got like Tunnel Rat and Mercer and Mirage. What the hell?
He's definitely
and
one of the characters who I think generally have very good variants.
yes,
Like, I think
I agree.
his the Eco Force, I mean, not the Eco Force, the Sonic Fighters one is pretty good. The Night Force one is good. His original version is pretty good.
It's great.
They really didn't get
Yeah,
him wrong, I think, at all in the original GI Joe line. I suppose you couldn't,
totally.
if you're basing him on Larry Harmer. We
Yeah,
can't mess
there's
this
that,
up,
but
guys.
but he's also just such a great toy.
Mm.
So yeah, so it has to happen. Like it's one of those figures that just has to happen. It's just so cool. I don't know. Just there's no way Tunnel Rat couldn't be in this list. Then the next one is Storm Shadow Ninja Force.
Of course, there had to be a Storm
Okay,
Shadow.
there had to be, but because we were picking out of the sub teams, and because I love Ninja Force, grabbing a Storm Shadow from Ninja Force was a great one. And I also think that this is possibly the best Ninja Force figure in the whole of the Ninja Force line. I know that it's debatable. There's
Whoa.
Slice and Dice are pretty good. Chabang is also a lot of fun. They actually are very, in my humble opinion, I think the Ninja Force set is actually really great, especially when you just get over the Ninja Force features. And this first wave of them is so cool, but I think Storm Shadow is head and shoulders above most of them. And
Color changing
yeah, I had
Snake
to
Eyes
have
wants a word with you.
color changing Snake Eyes can stay in the corner. Sorry, but that's a figure that just doesn't get love from me. But yeah, man. So, and I mean, I love Storm Shadow. This was my Storm Shadow for such a long time as a kid. I had to put it in the set. And then another great one, and this might surprise some folk, but Sonic Fighter Zap.
Whoa.
So Sonic Fighter Zap is such an interesting toy for me because I'm not a big fan of the original Zap. I don't have anything against it. I just think he's a very normal character. And once upon a time, I got one of his weapons in a lot, and I couldn't figure out whose weapon this was. I was like, this is such a crazy, crazy gun. It's that sort of, it's not pictured here, but it's this big gun that he has. It's got like a removable nozzle on the front of the gun. And I was like, who is this? And I went and I researched and I found out it was Zap's gun, which got me to really look at this guy again. And I'm like, he comes with really cool gear. He's a fun figure. He's definitely one of the best in the Sonic Fighters line. And yeah, I feel like you need like this dude to also help you blow stuff up. And he's very army man looking. That's one thing about him that's great. I mean, I could have also looked at Dodger, and Dodger was close. And I was kind of thinking of Battle Force 2000 for Dodger, but then I was like, no, Zap's gonna win out. Weird, but he did. So
Well,
had
thankfully,
to put
once
him up in
again, the
there.
backpack is a good one that you can actually use in play. It's not
Yes.
one that's actually going to be thrown away. It's a autonomous thing that can just roll around with him. You're not like losing out on some of the things that you bought when you bought the figure.
Yeah,
And it's a
like
fun
it's a
version.
great diorama piece. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's always fun. It's Road Pig's backpack is a lot like that too, except for it being really bright green. And then what will happen is if you order this online, this box set, you get this figure as an exclusive. Tiger Force Outback. How could I not have a Tiger Force member in there? This is why this was so difficult for me because I really wanted to get into the other sub teams because you guys all know that I love Tiger Force. So I purposely left him out, but he's my 6th member. He's my online exclusive. Yes. Shun me, but that's it. And then I had other ideas, I kind of wanted to make this, not kind of, but I settled on making this a set of toys that I really like, and what would be the ultimate 5-pack. Like if I was a kid and my parents got me something cool, or a friend went overseas and got me something cool, that was GI Joe themed, and they didn't have to think too hard about it. What is the best gift set you could give a Paul, and that would be it. So that was ultimately what I settled on. But I did play around with the idea of a reconnaissance force, which was Night Force sneak peek, and Oh wow! And I went through like a lot of really random characters to try and get like this like non-lethal kind of box set. I think, but then I think there's a Night Force Lifeline, if I'm not mistaken. God, I feel like my brain's phasing out on me, but there was a Tiger Force Lifeline, so I was like Tiger Force
Yeah.
Lifeline, Night Force Sneak Peek, and a few like sort of along that line. I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to be silly on this one. Let me make my ultimate gift pack.
Let's not
Set.
be silly.
Let's not be silly. So yeah, guys. So that's me. So
So, who's
let's get the wheel
next?
out. I just want to get the wheel out quickly. It
Funny
looks like
joke.
it's Steven. Yes, my timing was right. We got confetti.
All right,
Cool.
you criminals. Well, I decided to add an additional criterion to my list.
Whoa.
That being, I wanted to pick characters that had their debut in sub-teams.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a layer of uniqueness that these guys don't stand outside of their sub-team appearance for the most part. I think some of them have second or third versions, but like the one that sticks in one's mind will always be their initial appearance, and that was in these sub-team versions. So without further ado, I'm gonna kick the ball off with Bulletproof.
Hmm.
Now, this guy doesn't get much love from me, and he really should, because of the DEF members, he's the most unique. He is a brand new character. He's got a great machine gun and great backpack. He even has one of those hard to lose microphones, which attach to a removable helmet. So there's like some OG style of love to this guy, if you can just ignore the big honking, light flashing Springfire missile launcher, which you can. You absolutely can just chuck that into a drawer, and he still has very functional accessories. Great, wonderful. And yeah, like I would not be offended by having this figure in my collection. I don't yet, and came close to it on one occasion, but you know, it is still a bit of a lurid green, but I'm prepared to overlook that because, you know, he'll shuffle his way into a 90s display, which does kind of get a little bit more exciting, shall we say. Backing him up, we've got the only other member of GI Joe on the team. One of my favorites from back in the day. It's
Hey.
Sky Mate. I love Sky Mate. He's just like he's a figure that I had early on in my Joe collecting, and lost everything. Because why? Why do you attach your gear to you if you're flying through the air? It's just gonna crack that little post off your chest. And I mean, I don't need to tell you that the boomerang is the stuff of myth. Like there are very few surviving boomerangs that aren't repros. But the fact that he has weapon storage makes him so appealing to me. Like that Achilles heel of the toy, of the toy's function, is what puts him on this list now. Because it's like, yes, this figure had some additional engineering to him, which kind of puts him on a bit of a pedestal. The fact that he came with a glider is just that's just bonus, man. That's just the cream on the top of the cake. And I do love me a flying toy, but once again, you can take it or leave it because the figure itself is fantastic. Black pants, dark green shirt, the yellow, you could paint over it if it really offends you, but I think that's acceptable. And in my playtime, he absolutely was like an Aussie Rambo, running around with a bow and arrow. Like, that's just badass, man.
It's a fantastic figure. I came very close to putting him on my team before I came up with the whole fire team concept.
He does have that hot pink cap. That
Yeah,
trucker
you see,
cap.
that's why I was like, it's close, but it's not enough red. I was like, okay, I'll drop him.
All right. Well, the rest of my team, if you can call it that, sub team, because you had Cobras on sub teams. You know, Sonic
for sure.
Fighters was weighted 2 Cobras to I think 4 Joes. The Talking Battle Commanders was 1-to-1 or 2-to-2, but we got Interrogator, fantastic figure. My goodness, man. The fact that he came with a battle copter also is just like, huh? It's unnecessary. The figure itself would have sold that pack. He is just one of those
You don't need this. You're too cool.
late in the line gems, man. With that Boba Fett style helmet, the cool specialty. I mean, he's the Cobra that will make you talk. Because Mindbender's up to all sorts of other shit. He's making battle android troopers. He's making Cobra leaders cloned from DNA of dead historical figures. Like,
yeah, he's pretty
joined
busy.
an improv group, you know.
the guy who has to heat up metal implements and use them in uncomfortable ways. That's Interrogator's shtick. And
Fantastic
makes you
choice.
damn
yeah.
fine looking figure. My next Cobra, Overkill. Hey, full of features and not even necessarily including the push button to talk, which works in his case because he is a machine. The picture, if you are watching the visual presentation, I'd like to credit the artist. He's on DeviantArt, and his handle is Ehud's Bloody Sword. I'll link you to his stuff in the description below, but very, very nice. He's got Overkill depicted using all of his gadgetry. In fact, he's even added one. He's flipped down Overkill's hand, the removable one, to reveal the stump, which is also a gun in this guy's artwork. I like that.
It's great fun.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And that mind control device with the claw could attach to the backpack at that point, which is just one of those fun features of weapon storage that, like, it's a carryover from the original bat. Like, you could put the hand there, or you could put the attachment on there, and use it as a sort of additional weapon. He could essentially carry all his stuff, which is always going to get points from me. And hey, once
That's
again,
so
the
tight.
backpack's removable. Guys, were you like a little bit older when you discovered that his chest plate could flip open?
No, that was like the first thing we did.
I'm pretty sure we
Jeez.
found that out pretty early.
I got shouted at
I
'cause
remember
David's
it
like,
blowing
"Don't
my
break
mind when a friend of mine showed me that feature, and I was like, "What?" So it's not just a cool like recessed detail, like, because Battle Android Troopers, they had the lenticular, so there's a precedent of having a clear chest with some mechanical detail underneath that you can't actually interact with, but with Overkill, you can. Oh, so good. I was an
Yeah, no,
idiot
that-
child.
No, man. It's like it is a really well done detail. It's one of those things that doesn't
It's
look
not
like it
super
could go
obvious,
open,
I
but-
think, as well. It's
But I think
really
it's-
well designed.
And also, I had the benefit of David being like, and David is quite a bit older than me. So when he bought this figure and he showed me that feature, like, I mean, as we like uncarding it, he's like, check how cool this is. Had David not been there, maybe I wouldn't have found it either. So I don't think you're too alone there, Steve.
You would have missed out too.
Yeah, I just had the benefit of the sort of big brother approach of, big bro showing you how this works. So cool. Thanks, dude. Kinda.
Big bro. Yeah, no, it was definitely another big bro situation for me too. I didn't own Overkill at the time. It was my friend Lyle's figure, and he showed me, and I was like, "What the hell? That's amazing!" Anyways, my final, a unique character making his debut in a sub team, and really just being a fantastic 10 out of 10 style figure, even if his accessories are a bit pants. It's Cesspool. The best of a
Also a
bad
good
bunch.
choice.
He's just head to toe such a cool figure. Great head sculpts. The helmet ain't bad. Kind of screams mask to me, like Mobile Assault Strike Command. But I love his like green, whatever you want to call it, aqua. That color,
It's like a
Very
dark
cool.
turquoise. I love it. Yeah.
and the gold accents just making him look a bit more regal. The embossed cobra on the chest,
Oof. That is just
Yeah.
six.
class.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
As
And
I
that
say, the
face,
the
man,
accessories are a bit gimped. The water pistol is unique. It's the only one of its kind. Like the Joe one was standard, and the Cobra one wasn't reused. So it's cesspools, accessory, and cesspools alone. But that inflexible hose just kills it, man. He can never hold it right. The chainsaw is a bit oversized, and it's gold.
but
My goodness,
I love it. I love it though.
you love it.
Yeah, I love that
The,
chainsaw. Yeah.
the helmet's good, but my goodness, is that like breathing apparatus on the front always missing? I don't have a single version. Well, I've only got one version, my childhood version, and that got lost early on in the game.
Yep, same.
And
No,
there you have
I
it,
was
ladies
quite
and gentlemen.
delighted to get this figure.
My
Very
five
cool,
sim.
man. No, one or two
I
things I
need to
wanted
be
to like.
excused
Oh,
for just a minute because I forgot to take something out of the freezer that needs to be defrosted for breakfast, which the family will be demanding in, I suppose, half an hour. So I need to quickly make a plan. But talk
hungry.
amongst yourselves, guys.
Hungry,
Yay.
here goes.
well, while Rob and I have the mic, then quickly.
Hell yeah.
Rob, what have you been watching, dude? Like, have you been watching or playing
I-
any games or anything cool like that?
This whole week I have not been watching much. I think I haven't actually logged on to like Netflix for like a week and a half, weirdly enough.
Say it ain't so.
I've just been spending a lot of time on YouTube watching, I suppose, just random stuff. So often to get to sleep, I watch a lot of ASMR. And
Yes.
somehow that also recommends a lot of other similar stuff, which isn't necessarily
Oh, yeah?
ASMR, but it was very relaxing to watch. And the thing that I've kind of gotten into watching, I mean, knowing absolutely nothing about them, is people when they repair watches, mechanical watches.
Oh,
It's
okay.
absolutely fascinating to see how complex and complicated mechanical watches are, and kind of the process of cleaning them and putting them together and seeing how tiny these parts are. It's amazing. Like if you don't think about it, just like, oh, it's a watch, it tells time. But like watches are absolutely incredible pieces of technology that people came up with these concepts and made them so tiny and so small. And there's such a large variety, but like, and people collect watches. I mean, that's something that I didn't realize. I suppose it must be a thing. There's so many, of course, people will be able to collect them. But watches are like good mechanical watches, like super expensive. Because
I leave for 60 seconds and you guys are talking about watches. Oh my goodness.
No,
We're talking
we
about.
just-
He asked me, what was I watching and reading, buying this week?
Very good.
So I was saying I haven't watched any Netflix, but I have somehow, because of me watching ASMR, YouTube recommends a lot of other types of things which are kind of relaxing to watch. And I've gotten into watching mechanical watch repairs, and it's fascinating to watch them taking the watch apart, putting it back together, cleaning it. And it's just interesting. It makes me want to get a watch, but like then you see how expensive these bloody watches are, especially if the really good ones. And it's like, I don't
Yeah.
even know how a person can afford 100,000 Rand watch.
It's an
How?
investment. You're buying
it's-
into a
It's like a
collectible.
legacy, it's a collectible. It's a proper collectible thing, and people have collections. A friend of mine actually collects watches. I've never seen his entire collection, but I've seen a few of them that he's worn, and now knowing more about the mechanical watches makes me have more of an interest in his collection and kind of actually seeing more of it. Hopefully, eventually when COVID stops being such a hectic thing, I'll be able to check that out. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching. Lots of watch videos.
Watching the watch vids, man.
Watching the watches.
Well, my brother used to make the point that because everyone uses the tube in London, rich man or poor man, the way you can tell a person's status is by their watch.
Mm.
Yeah, Omega, Rolex. Yeah.
Seiko, Grand Seiko, which is apparently a very good watchmaker.
Casio.
Casio?
Hey.
I got a Casio on right now, guys, and it is an
Hey.
investment. I bought it for about 15 years ago, and this watch will hopefully outlive me. It's
for sure.
it's solar powered.
That's absolutely insane. I still can't believe that.
Well, there's a lot of sun in Queensland. Let me just say this thing will always have a full charge.
It'll never stop running.
I know absolutely nothing about Moon Knight.
Ah,
So I watched the first
Yeah, because that
episode.
started.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. And I still know absolutely nothing about Moon Knight.
That's kind of normal though. Yeah.
I guess they were wanting to mystify everyone with this first episode, but I I don't know, man. I think I'm totally burnt out not only on superhero at the cinema, but superhero on TV too. It's a strange state of affairs because like it used to be a huge cause for excitement. Like this was like, oh, guess what comes out this month? Amazing. Like mark the calendar, basically.
yeah.
Now there's so much. I'm
It,
spent.
I think a lot of people are there. There's a lot of burnout when it comes to like superhero movies, and once you push a genre so hard that there's something new coming out every couple of months, it is difficult to keep excitement going. Then I think it becomes a thing
Yeah.
of like specific ones exciting you. Like I was very excited to see Spider-Man. Batman to me was very good. I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. Um,
Oh, I'm very excited for
But
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange, so
Yeah.
more so because I mean I like the character, but I enjoy Sam Raimi as a director as well, and I'm curious to see how he
Yeah.
handles it. But I think especially on the small screen, it's difficult to get one really excited about new characters. I think still the best television superhero series was Daredevil, and he's barely a
Mm.
superhero. You know, I mean he's blind, he
Yeah.
can do cool shit, but like it's still the best one that they've done, and that was one of the first. It's actually insane to think that they've tried so hard to bring out so much other stuff, at least to me, that is not being as cool as Daredevil.
That's
But
kind of my
Rob,
benchmark too.
hang
Yeah.
on. You say you're excited about Doctor Strange. I couldn't be colder on the prospect of a Doctor
Oh
Strange
wow,
movie at
no.
this stage.
I'm
Like the thing
I'm
that's
so
exciting me
amped.
most about Doctor Strange is probably like what absolutely all the mouth breathers are excited about, and that's like what cool cameos can we expect to see? Like that's what drives a Disney Marvel movie now. It's like what other shit are they going to shoehorn in there to make you go, oh no way, so and so is a secret reveal. Oh wow, which is
What's
just
going to link to the next movie? Like, what are we going to watch next?
yeah, it's
Yeah, what's
just
yeah.
it's not really speaking great to the faith anyone has in the movie itself. Like, will I be entertained by this movie as a movie on its own? No, I'm going to be entertained by the way it connects to the larger mythology, or to
Huh.
perhaps I don't know. There was talk of maybe getting Tom Cruise to play Tony Stark or something. Like, just
Yeah, some sort of alternate reality. I think
crazy
there will
talk.
be tons of cameos, and because they've opened up the whole multiverse concept since
Yeah,
Spider-Man,
but isn't that
they can
sad
do.
that a movie's trading on these cameos?
On
Like,
gimmicks.
take that away,
Yeah.
and is there any substance left? Yeah, we're in
Well,
interesting
I can't
territory.
say for yeah, well, I can't speak for Spider-Man because I haven't watched it yet, and I really do want to watch it because it
How
has
dare
Doctor
you?
Strange in it. Ironically, I'm more excited for the new Spider-Man because of Doctor Strange being in it. But I don't want to talk about that more 'cause, in case we get into weird spoiler territory. I'm very excited for the new Doctor Strange film. Moon Knight has my interest peaked in a big way. I'm kind of sort of waiting for like maybe 1 or 2 episodes or like hopefully 3 episodes to come out first before I check it out because
What's
I
your
dig Moon
context with
Knight.
Moon Knight? You dig him? What
I've
visually?
yeah, I've read
Yes,
yes. No, no,
but
no. I've read some of the
what
books.
else? Yeah.
There was a great a great Moon Knight run. Geez, we're talking like early 2000s, like around 2008,
That's by Warren
2009.
Ellis. I think it was Warren Ellis.
Yes, and Dave Finch. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely
Yeah, and it
incredible
was
run.
really great. I was like, damn, like why isn't Marvel pushing this dude? And then there's the whole Marvel Knights thing, which is Executioner, it's Moon Knight, and there's another one. I think it's not Ghost Rider, the other one, Vengeance. And there's a whole bunch of them. All Marvel's Sons. I can't even remember the name of that sub team now. It's like Sons or Night Sons or something like that. Anyway, I like that because it's the whole darker side of Marvel. And as a kid, I remember picking up a lot of Ghost Rider comic books and like a lot of the comic books from like that like weirder, very crazy, scratchy art style, slightly darker side of Marvel stuff that I used to enjoy. So Moon Knight kind of fell into that, and somebody recommended I read Moon Knight when I was working at the comic store, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I got into it, and I was like, he's a really cool character, and that's why I'm interested to see how they do him on screen because it looks like they're kind of getting it right from what I can see from the trailer. So, But and
They're
so I don't want to get
levelly healing. They're heavily leaning into that later interpretation of the character, where
yes.
he does have this multiple personality sort of thing going on. At least from the trailers, it looks like that lines up with late interpretation of the character. So they are taking on like a more modern version of him. But yeah,
Yeah.
essentially he's like he's like Marvel's Batman, but he dresses in white
Kinda.
and he has like a supernatural element to him as well in the whole connection with like Egyptian mythology.
What I like about Moon Knight is that he is at least not too much of a copy of something that DC's done, because Marvel and DC keep doing that. But what I want to really speak about, and I don't want to waste too much more time on the segments, but I've been watching Brave New World, which is based on Aldous Huxley's novel of the same name. And it's a very so the TV series I think is good enough.
It's really dystopian, so scary.
Well, is it dystopian? Yeah, it is kind of, but it's like a dystopia disguised as a utopia.
The concept of Brave New World, I think, to the people who live in it isn't dystopian, but I mean, to people outside of it looking at you like, interesting. These people really have almost no control over their lives, from
and it's very
birth
cool.
onwards. Before birth.
I mean, exactly that, dude. And I also enjoyed something that I feel was very heavily inspired by Brave New World, was a very old movie called Logan's Run. Has a bit
Which
of
you're a fan of,
Brave New World.
It has been recommended to me before, but man, sci-fi, hey, it really turned a corner shortly after that film.
Yeah,
It
really did. Because that film,
I think typifies what sci-fi in cinema was before Star Wars. Like Star Wars being the huge watershed moment where it was like, wow, you can actually have pace and excitement in science fiction. Science fiction, this is serious. This is science. This is like, ooh, I'm going to push the button. The computer is telling me something. I'm about to push the button. The computer is saying something else. Like, yeah, guess just get on with it, guys. Let's have a dogfight.
But there was just
please.
Oh, there is a charm to it that I really enjoyed as well. That I really do still enjoy. And then also I've been catching that Halo TV series. Okay, so I'm not going to go on record now and say that it is good. I think the first episode I really enjoyed, and I was like, okay, cool. This is fun to watch. And it's good for what it is. Like, if you guys have played the game, the story for the game, the lore, is very interesting for Halo. I personally don't think the story is that well told in the games, but it was told well enough to be gripping and to have you like clamoring for the next release, because you're like, oh, what's going to happen? The TV series is kind of going on its own tangent, its own thing. I feel like it's entertaining. I don't know if I would say it's really good, but I think it's entertaining enough. And it's nice to just have that to watch as opposed to whatever other crap is on Netflix right now and Amazon and whatever. It's just nice to have something that's just kind of familiar. It's like a cupcake. It's like, ooh, I like cupcakes, Halo's my TV cupcake at the moment. So, yeah, I've been enjoying that. So, yeah, guys, I mean, that's what I've been watching.
Well, I got some new shit, boys. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Some of it that arrived this week, I can't actually unveil because it's destined for other members of GI Joburg. So I wanted it to be a surprise. But I do have a complete swamp fire now, thanks to Gary V. Yeah, he sent me some parts. I completed the shell that I got from Alan Grant, Australian buddy of mine. I think 2 years ago now, start of COVID, he sent me some offcuts, some things that he didn't need, very kindly, and I've made it my mission to kind of refurbish and get them back into good working order. And so this swamp fire. Does anyone have a swamp fire here? I know you don't, Rob.
I do.
You've got a swamp fire. Okay, man. Like,
does yours change color?
Very marginally.
Mine doesn't, Its features completely like not functional anymore.
Yeah. It's funny because I think the figures tended to retain that ability, whereas maybe the vehicles not so much. We obviously can't speak to the Dreadnought air assault and Dreadnought ground assault, the Sears exclusives. But as far as the Swamp Fire is concerned, nah, haven't seen much color change on those plastic parts.
Yeah, man. Like I left mine in the sun like for a good like 30 minutes and I didn't see any change. And I kind of left it because you can do this with those figures or with those toys, which is so great. You could put half of it in the sun and half of it in the shade, and the parts that's in the shade won't change color, which is like such a great thing on Zartan as well. You know, when you have little because Zartan's little chest plate, it prevents UV rays from going through, so his skin stays the same color. You know, so like I love that.
So you can have tan
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, it's such a cute feature. It's like it's like I find it so built in there to go, hey kids, the color actually changes. Here you can see the difference. Look at his little belly window. So, anyway, yeah. Sorry, Steve. So yeah, you got a Swamp Fire. So what was missing on yours? Like
The
everything,
propeller
or-
blades, the assembly onto which the
God.
propeller blades snap onto. So I had blades, but I didn't have the hub, and I didn't have the back portion. So what I had was effectively a boat. It had the
Yes.
gun and had the pontoons. So I used it as such. But now it's a mask vehicle. It can take off and become a helicopter, which is good fun.
It doesn't
It's
float so well.
really.
I find mine
Mine-
doesn't.
Mine
maybe it's just
survived some rough waters courtesy of little Elliot.
Mhm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I haven't really put it out in the water for extended periods. No, I take that back. I have. It floats. I guess it just differs copy to copy.
Yeah. Mine just seems to take water on quite quickly and then just becomes a submarine. So, yeah.
But in part 2 of the Mauler Joe mystery box,
Oh.
got a delightful box which I'm sure will be recognizable to all.
Yay!
It's the
Whoa.
the vintage O-ring reproduction GI Joe guys, the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. But if you look a little closer, he's written something on the baggie that he put it in. It says Mauler Joe Factory Rejects. So already that's piqued my interest. It's like, did he doctor these somehow? Because I know Joe, he disassembles the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and talks about the various parts that are used and how it differs to the traditional and the innovations that they've had to make with these new O-ring figures. So I was wondering, maybe he's given me 2 figures that he's personally done some work to. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see what's inside. Lo and behold, there's a note, and the note says, "Your mission: unpack your team, infiltrate the lawn, gather intel on lawnmower, mingle with shady guests, survive the evening with the entire team." Now that starts like getting the cogs in my brain turning. Like, what? Unpack your team,
Uh-oh.
sure, okay, take the figures out. Infiltrate the lawn. Like, huh? Why? Intel on the lawnmower. Okay, so clearly the lawnmower is the the enemy. We've got to mingle with shady guests. Like this started firing some memories, shall we say, some tortured memories. And all was made abundantly clear when I took the contents out, and it was none other than a carded Stalker 1989 and a carded Snake Eyes also from the
Oh
same
my
year.
god. Wow.
Hey,
He's only like 2 of the
amazing.
best figures ever.
That is so cool.
Hey, that is beyond cool. The note, if you're an eagle-eared, wolf-eared listener, or just have the memory of an elephant, I've sometimes rattled on about the fact that I had these 2 figures as a child, and they both had unfortunate fates. Stalker got definitely chewed up by my dad's lawnmower. I had the fragments to prove it, which he sheepishly kind of surrendered to me. Like, oh, you know, that lawnmower makes a lot of smoke, makes a lot of noise. It was an old petrol guy, and I don't blame him. There's no ways
Oh, shame, man.
Stalker could have jumped out and said, "Hey, wait! I'm standing here. Yeah, so I have bits and pieces of that stalker.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was grisly. Still have his kayak and most of the accessories, but the stalker himself, yeah, he was not long for this world. And Snake Eyes, I've often labored under the belief that he probably was a victim of an unscrupulous child, because you know how it goes,
Yeah.
guys. You barely know someone and you're already inviting them around for lunch or for a
Yeah.
sleepover. So, yeah, too easy. Very
Yeah.
popular figure into the back pocket.
My Snake Eyes like that was eviscerated by such a friend, by such
Oh
a person, not a
no.
friend.
Shady
In
What
guess.
did
Rico,
he?
yeah. We were
He
playing with
pulled
GI
the.
Joes, and then he just pulled it apart. And I'm like, you little bastard. And I mean,
You know,
as a
some
kid, I
kids,
tried my
hey.
best to keep the parts. Yeah,
Well,
some kids.
the fact that we sort of retained this hobby speaks to the fact that we were all about preservation even back then. Whereas, a
Yeah,
lot of children, and it's not a slight on them, they really just got the mileage out of their figures. It's like they played them until they were dust, and then they got new toys. We weren't those guys. But yeah, guys,
yeah.
what an incredible gift! Thank you, Joe.
That is
These two figures mean
amazing.
a hell of a
Wow.
lot to me, and I'm going to defy his orders and not uncard them. So that mission will never be undertaken. But it's just so special to have carded figures to treasure, to kind of
Mm,
pore over those details and just enjoy that original presentation again, because it's such a rare thing to have. I'm not a carded
Mm.
collector. I'm not swimming in these things, but I often find myself taking these figures down and just holding them for a while, just admiring the
mm,
way the accessories were packed into the bubble, because I have very little recollection of that. Sure, you can all look up images of carded figures online, but like the way that the accessories were placed in the bubble, that's that was the quickest thing to kind of leave your mind as you tore that sucker loose
Mm.
and freed him. Everything went clattering onto the carpet. Anyways, once again, thanks, Joe. Two of the best, as you say, Paul. Brilliant, brilliant,
no,
brilliant.
definitely. I mean, I think in your video, that is like, that Snake Eyes is holds a very high position in one of your ultimate top 10 figure videos. I don't want to spoil it here, obviously. So,
Spoil a
but
video that's
People
probably
should go
4 years
watch it.
old.
hey, there are people that still haven't watched it. Like, just trying to be cool to those people.
But speaking of
Yeah.
YouTube content, around about the time this podcast comes out, I will have released a delightfully indulgent video. Since I have my parents to hand and I have some pictures of me actually back in the day holding these two carded figures, I showed
Ooh.
my parents those pictures and tried to drum up some memories in them, perhaps, which, I mean, it might have been a very profound moment for me, but for them, it was just like it was a Tuesday or it was whatever Christmas Day was. So they didn't
Yeah.
have too much nostalgia to share, but just lovely to have them on camera. They played ball very nicely, played the game. And yeah, so if you want to meet my folks, check out the YouTube channel. A special mission from Joe Mauler Works. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you'll see Ken and Daphne. Hey, delight.
Hey.
I'm so glad you got like cool toys this week.
Oh, boo. No new shit for Paul? Oh, this is going to be a short
No.
podcast indeed.
Cheers, guys. See you
No,
next
no,
time. 246.
no. 2.5 of you silly thing. No, man, it's cool. I'm good. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I really got to enjoy some of the toys that I'd recently picked up, because things get busy, and I get to open them and look at them and pose them a little bit, and then I don't really get a chance to play with them. And this week I've had like some time to like sit around and actually do some cool poses and really get into those toys. And I'm going to the park tomorrow, which is exciting. So yeah, so yeah, because we wanted to go last week, and then just too many things happened. So we're going to the park tomorrow. Celia and I are going to the park, and
Will there
I'm
be
gonna take
some
my.
Instagram pictures for GI Joburg, Paul?
They will be, and then I'm hoping. Yeah, I don't want to say too much. I just want to go there and have fun, and I've got my camera with me. So let's see what happens. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because
Lovely.
there's one or two toys that I have received that I haven't mentioned on the show, just because I thought it'd be nice to just put them in a video as a kind of video only thing. So, and I'm really loving Steven's review style, which I'm copying for what I want to do, because it's just easier that way. And then I
Zero
don't
effort
overthink it.
review.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like, it's,
Yeah, I
it's a
know.
fun way of
I know.
doing it, 'Cause
Good,
I want-
good. Rob, it's time, buddy.
Oh my goodness, it's time. It's time for Postbox of the Rob. Once
So
again.
every week, Rob will check out the comments thread of the previous week's podcast and select his favorite response. Yeah. So please note that anything you say or do on a GI Joburg YouTube comments thread could be read out in a future episode. But it's fun for, I think, that little bit of engagement. Maybe it's a cool prize to people who send us nice responses. And also great to just have us all kind of respond to one comment. What
And
fun!
people are
Let's do
always
it.
so nice. I mean, I'm glad, Gaz, we did very good. I'm glad you commented. We did an amazing job last week. And it seems a lot of people really enjoyed the concept, Paul.
Sure.
Mark Lewin was like, this is by far the funnest episode you guys did.
Oh, thank
And
you.
lots of people were even, it seemed like, asking more questions, like does the environment, can that adjust
Yeah,
the
I actually
stats and
responded to
stuff
that
like
one.
that?
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. But I thought the funniest one was from Baumo. He said, I feel like I just watched the most complicated version of rock, paper, scissors in my whole life. Wait,
Hell
this is
yes.
G.I. Joe. It should be called Roadblock, Parachutes, and Snake Eyes. Yo, Joe.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
maybe
so-
we'll
it-
steal
it
that name.
fits so well. I think those fits so well. But once again, I mean, so that was my favorite comment. But once again, I can't stop mentioning Elpac Stew, because he just, every time his comments are always so lovely. So this time he said, "Congratulations, guys! You guys are the ones inspired me to create my own YouTube channel, which I hope everyone will check out." That's me saying that. That's not him saying that. He continues to say, "When I first heard about you guys, I thought, what do these British punks know about GI Joe? Well, it turns out you guys know it all. I was wrong about a lot of things, especially thinking you were British. But then I am from Tennessee. I've learned so much about GI Joe and grown as a fan, and owe it all to GI Joburg. I've always been a big GI Joe fan. You guys helped me see that it's okay to let other people know that it's okay. For years, I thought I was the only adult in the world who still plays with action figures. Thank you for opening a new world to me. Truly, thank you." And
Yeah, man.
those are the cool. I mean, it's so cool that we help people to realize they're toys. You know, you can collect them, you can have fun with them, you can play with them, and I think that'll always, for me at least, be the most touching thing, is that we've inspired people to just play with them, play with the toys, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, this is a hobby about toys. It's not like watches. What do you do with your freaking watch collection?
I
You
don't know what to
admire
do,
them
actually.
lovingly. Maybe wait for a special
them.
occasion where you can actually wear your limited edition
Well,
Rolex.
you watch them, you look at them, but also with all, well, this is well, to ruin your point, but older mechanical watches are actually very inaccurate. They lose seconds a day, actually. So you have to very often wind them, so you get them power back into what powers the watch itself, and you have to
Ooh, that's
reset them
fun.
very often. But yeah, it still stands. You're
It's
not
not
going
like
to have
going into the garden with a tank,
Exactly.
a jeep, and a helicopter and having a good old little war.
It is
It's
still not
just-
as fun as playing with GI Joes. It's true. You're not going to go like, "Ooh, where am I going to wind this watch today?" Ooh, I'm gonna do it while I'm doing, making breakfast.
I
Not to
hear that and I'm
poo-poo
just
on
like,
watch collectors, but you guys enjoy your watches the
Yeah.
way you want.
no, totally. But I mean, I hear stuff like that. I'm like, oh God, more admin in my life that I don't need.
GI Joes are much more fun. You just grab a couple, you go somewhere, you do something with them, you find more online that you want, and you take toys from people who don't want them anymore, and you give them good homes, and that's fantastic. Why not?
You go in there like the SPCA, and you're like, these toys need a better home. Slap some people up, grab their stuff. Oh, dude. Yeah,
Get them
man.
out of their plastic prisons.
it's just so cool this week. Like I was just sitting on the couch because it was just. I mean, I haven't been feeling that well, and this past week I've been feeling better, and it's been good. But I've just also just been like annoyed with like just still having a little bit of a sore throat kind of vibe. And just
You're
waiting for
finally
this
getting
pass.
over your
Rona, no,
pneumonia.
no.
And it was so cool to just.
Rona.
No, it's not Rona, man. God, no, and I'm not in denial. It's
It's
really
still
not
not.
Corona.
It really isn't. I'm pretty sure I
Like-
self-diagnosed myself. It was the scratchy throat. And
No,
it was the
I'm not
nose thing,
there.
guys.
No. Anyway, whatever. It was just so cool to like sit on my couch, and then I just had like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and I was like running them up and down the couch and having a battle and annoying the cat, and then the cat was all like, "Meow, meow," and then they attacked the cat, but not really. I mean, it's not like I'm beating my cat with my toys, but then they like attacked the cat, and then the cat got annoyed, and then I chased after the cat with my toys, and it was fun, good times. Yeah.
Hey man, little
Can't do
kitty
that with a watch.
teeth marks on your action figures might be an annoyance now, but like when that cat is long gone deceased, you'll look at those teeth marks with such nostalgia. Oh.
And be like, that bastard. Yeah, I
Hey.
know.
Spit on your
Yeah.
grave. Yeah, no, it's very very touching. Like I've got some Transformers that have like chewed up feet, and I remember, oh, that was Jenny any dots. You little scumbag.
Oh,
I miss Jenny. Guys, on the way out,
yes.
Zazel Phoenix has released another episode of the Slaughter Wrestling Championship.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
it's epic. Check it out. The link will be in the description. Kano the Warlord versus
Yes.
British Bulldog. Hey, have you seen it, Paul?
I haven't. I just saw the thumbnail now, actually, before I came to jump onto the show because I was on YouTube.
Well,
Before
waste no
I'm like,
time,
"Ooh,
my
I wanna watch
boys.
this."
Watch it, like it, subscribe it. It's wonderful. Zazel does a bloody good job, and he really has been firmly running that relay. That he's holding that baton. He's lifting the flame high for play motion because it's so good. You know, it's play motion and it's kind of martial arts combat. It's wrestling. He has to innovate in order to make it work. So yeah, there's stuff that he's doing that I just never conceived of, and that's just on a technical level. Like most of that should go over everyone's head, and that's great. But the storytelling is good, and something that has particularly just mushroomed in this episode is like the voice cast. He has got such a varied number of people tendering voices. I typically like get, I don't know, maybe too afraid to keep asking people to like tender a voice for an action figure. He has no such qualms. I think he only voices 2 of the figures, and everyone else in that cast is a pal, an associate, someone online that he's asked, and it works, man. It's very varied. It's a great oral presentation, audio sensation to go with the superb visuals. So highest praise from this guy. Check out Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse. You can't miss it. Nice.
Cool. Nice.
And that's our
that Kano
show,
figure's
I think.
hot. Well, it is kind of our show, but there's one thing I suppose, people should also just check out if they've got a chance. Why
What
don't
is
you
it?
guys check out our Patreon, and you can join these fine human beings on our Patreon honor roll. These are, of course, our Berg Force, or this is our Berg Force, and they lovingly support us, and we are very thankful for that. So thank you very much, guys. And yeah, I hope it's because we're a great channel. But if you guys want to support us, maybe you want to do something more than a like and a subscribe, then yeah, you can check out our Patreon for $3, or more if you want to. And yeah, that's all I want to say about that, because everybody knows what a Patreon is. So
5 of the best guys. Tell us your teams. Who do you think is the best of the best? And tell us, who do you think wins? It's me. I know it is, but you
Yeah.
can make these other guys feel better about themselves and their rubbish teams they came up with.
Oh, Rob.
Rob. Yes, if you join the Berg Force, you also get to come to the after party, which I'll be dipping in and out of momentarily while trying to make breakfast. My life,
Cool.
guys, it's
Make
chaos,
it.
but I wouldn't
Bring
have
your
it
whole
any other
family.
way.
Bring your whole family to the after party. Come on.
Yeah, I could do that.
You could do that.
Also, if you'd like to get hold of the show, we have an email. If you'd like to send us some lengthy words, feel free to drop it at arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com. You could also get hold of us anywhere we're social: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group. Just drop into the DMs, and you'll probably get me. But if it's worthy, I'll bring it to these gentlemen's attention in a show, and we can discuss it on air.
Hell yeah. Hell
But
yeah.
we'll check you next week, Joburgers. Thanks for joining us.
246 is right around the corner. Let's do it.
245. Awesome 5-packs of awesome.
You're still shopping a different title there, Paulie.
I'm trying, man. I'm like, because you were like 5 of the best is not strong enough. And I'm like, yeah, no, it should have been 6 of the best.
title.
But,
All right. Later, dudes.
Cheers.
Berg. It never works.
Yum, burg.
Oh, did you see they did body massage Roadblock in Super 7?
Body
massage. Yeah.
Oof,
And-
we can
and
finally
Mutt
make that
with-
animated program.
Mutt with a random dog. I'm a computer. Amazing.
Body massage.
Amazing.
thought that was an
These
April
amazing
Fool's.
toys that I will never own.
It's more for everyone else.
True.